This Sunday, Twins and Rays game is brought to you by Super America. Get your Not Whole Kids Day voucher at any local Super America. The rain has gone away. The sun is out. It's a sultry Sunday afternoon as fans arrive at Target Field looking to see the Twins put the brooms on the Tampa Bay Rays. And if they do so, it's going to come down to starting pitching. And starting pitching has been the key lately. In their last 5 starts, the starters have posted an ERA below 3. They are certainly meshing right now with their new pitching coach, Neil Allen. What an impact he's had on today's starter, young Kyle Gibson, who's really starting to turn into a mainstay in that rotation for the Minnesota Twins. Ironically, though, Neil Allen's had quite an impact on both sides of the pitching matchup today, as he spent 7 years in the Rays organization at the AAA level. And as we find out from Chris Archer, had a major impact on what might be their ace down the road.
Had a great 2012, ended up being minor league pitcher of the year, and a lot of that was due to him. I also worked with him a little in 2013. I mean, every element of the game, he's great. The physical, mechanical side, the mental side. He's pitched in every park and almost every situation, so he could help you situationally. He really helped me grow as a pitcher.
Archer, very charismatic and fun-loving, a lot like Eduardo Escobar. And when Dick and Jack come back, they break down Escobar's impact offensively off a 4-hit performance yesterday. The Rays and the Twins next on Fox Sports North.
Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Dodge. Come discover great deals during the Dodge Drive and Discover event. It is the briefest of homestands, and the Twins are hoping to make it a perfect homestand with a 3-game sweep over the Tampa Bay Rays. The Twins have played very well at home. They've got the best home record in the major leagues and one of the most improved records in the major leagues this year. And good Sunday afternoon to you from Target Field. Dick Bramer along with Jack Morris. Last year, for the first time in his big league career, Eduardo Escobar became a regular player as the Twins shortstop. He's not their everyday shortstop this year, but he's still in the lineup every game.
Paul Mahler's got to figure out ways to get his bat in the lineup. He has really been hitting the ball ever since spring training started, but he brings a lot of energy. This is the kind of guy that you love as your teammate. He's always smiling. I've never seen him in a bad mood. He wants to play every single day, but he knows that he's not going to play all the time, and yet he's able to contribute with his enthusiasm and his positive attitude. Just a fun guy to watch.
Both the Twins and the Rays are among the league's most surprising teams this year because they both pitched better than anticipated coming out of spring training, and we've got maybe the #1 starter for each team going here today.
Kyle Gibson's been very good for the Twins as of late. He's induced 74 ground balls as a starter this year, and for a sinker ball pitcher, a sinker slider kind of guy like Kyle is, that's exactly what you want. He's not going to get a lot of strikeouts, but he can make that contact and drive the ball into the ground. It's all a plus for the Twins. Chris Archer, probably the best pitcher for the Tampa Bay Rays this year in his last outing against the Yankees. He struck out 8 hitters, all with his breaking ball. He can really spin it well, and he's the kind of guy that believes in himself. He's got kind of that edgy attitude, a little bit of arrogance, but you have to have that. It's a confidence that all pitchers need.
Twins are starting to build some invincibility here at home. We'll see if they can complete the 3-game sweep over the Rays before they head out on the road, heading to Pittsburgh and then Chicago. Skies have cleared. They're going to be a threat of rain later on this afternoon. But the final game of this little 3-game homestand with the Tampa Bay Rays. Twins with enough clutch hitting in each of the first 2 games. We know in some parts of Twins territory the weather's a little bumpy out there, but right now things are fine here. And we will hope to get this game in uninterrupted. Both teams have an off day tomorrow. The Rays, after the game, will fly to Atlanta for an off day. And the Twins will fly to Pittsburgh. Kevin Cash in his first year replacing Joe Madden, and he will send out this Menard's batting order: Kevin Kiermaier, Logan Forsythe, Evan Longoria, James Loney, Brandon Geyer, David DeJesus, Asdrubal Cabrera, Nick Franklin, just activated from the disabled list, and then Bobby Wilson.
And they're going to be facing right-hander Kyle Gibson. He's making his 8th start of the year at Target Field this year. Kyle is 3-0, has just allowed 1 run in 20.2 innings. And he's making his 4th career start against the Tampa Bay Rays. He's 0-3 with a 9.98 ERA against Tampa. So maybe Kyle can get that win column, get one on the right side of the ledger here today.
Kiermaier will lead things off, then Forsythe and Longoria. And a first pitch strike. Gibson's been really good. He had a scoreless inning streak broken up by J.D. Martinez home run in his last start. Up high, 1-1.
As we watch Kyle Gibson, we just want to emphasize that he is a sinker slider type of pitcher. He's not an overpowering guy with a swing and miss pitch per se. He has very good movement when he keeps the ball down below the belt, below the hands of the hitters, and he gets a lot of ground balls, and that's what you want out of your sinker slider kind of pitcher.
1-2 to Kiermaier. Foul back toward the end of his 7-inning outing against the Tigers. He did start striking some people out.
Yeah,
he struck out 6 in his 7 innings, and most of those came in the last couple innings.
And what he did was getting guys to chase out of the zone. Their patience were wearing thin, and they started swinging at balls. Kyle was smart enough to recognize that, and instead of putting the ball on the knee, he put it below the knee. He would move it off the plate a little bit.
Foul back.
But he has been much more consistent this year. Good thing for the Twins. Kyle Gibson projected to be maybe the ace of this staff at some point. He's working his way towards that right now.
1-2 to Kiermaier. And now 2-2. In the month of May, 3 starts. Gibson's 2-0 with an ERA of 0. Let me say that again. 0.43. He's been pretty good.
Very good.
2-2. Hit hard into the corner. And a long carom. Kiermaier can run well, and he will get to second base on a leadoff double.
Right away now, Kyle Gibson's going to have to work out of the stretch with the runner on second base. Let's watch the location there. Ball's left up. Kyle doesn't do well when he keeps the ball above the belt. That one pretty much straight. There's no sink to that pitch. Kiermaier jumps all over it. Torrey Hunter doing a good job. Or excuse me, that's not Torrey Hunter out there. It's
Eddie Rosario.
Rosario in right field. Torrey is DH.
Here's Logan Forsythe, the designated hitter for the Rays. Bunt back to Gibson. He fires to third, and they get the lead runner. Kloof a little tangled up with the sliding runner Kiermaier, but a bunt that was too hard and right back to the mound. And as we've said over the last several starts, Gibson a really good fielding pitcher.
Excellent job. He got to that ball quickly and recognized he had plenty of time. Even though Kiermaier does run well, like you mentioned, Dick, Gibson very aware, throws a perfect strike over to Trevor Plouffe. And he gets that lead runner. Makes a big difference right there. You take a runner from scoring position, he's out. Now you put a guy on first base with 1 out.
Not challenged by the Rays. It did look like he was out, but you see the importance. Even on plays like that, the ball beat the runner to the bag by plenty. He if you're an infielder now, you need to really be efficient with your tag, because with replay we've seen so many calls overturned.
I would think, and if I was an infielder and I saw the ball get to me that quickly, I'm going to move off the bag towards the runner. I'm not going to let him come to me. I'm going to him. That way there's no doubt that I tag him.
Chop foul, 1-1. Gibson has a chance now to pitch around this leadoff double in the first inning. In his career, 18-18 with an ERA of just over 4.5. But Gibson is now the type of pitcher the Twins envisioned when they drafted him out of the University of Missouri years ago.
I think a lot of the success that Kyle's attained this year is the fact that he's starting to recognize what kind of pitcher he is. And that is that sinker guy, the guy that can run the ball in and off the plate on both sides. And you know, you've got to get to a point where you realize this is what I am and this is how I'm going to win. I think Kyle's starting to understand that. And then the success that comes with that, the production of ground balls, you know, that all builds confidence.
2-1. And Longoria taps it foul. And sometimes that, I would imagine, gets challenged. Like Gibson, you know, is well aware of, you know, what's been said about him this year. At one point he had more walks than strikeouts, but you've got to have the resolve to stick to your game. Now the walks were too high, but he's not a strikeout pitcher. He won't be a strikeout pitcher. And when he is at his best, he's one of those pitch to contact guys, right?
Yep. And you know, I don't really consider, even though they are, I don't consider sinker slider guys pitch to contact guys. I look at them as they're making the ball run, and you're topping the ball. You know, you're getting those hitters to hit on top of the baseball. You've got to use your defense. And Kyle doesn't have that swing and miss type of velocity. He doesn't have that absolutely lights out breaking ball.
And he gets a lot of ground ball double plays. Out at second, relay to first, safe. Longoria does not run well, and he's had a whole host of hamstring injuries. And Paul Molitor up on the top step of the dugout. The Twins may challenge the call at first base.
Good job by Trevor Plouffe and Brian Dozier of turning that ball. Made a close play at first base.
Bang, bang. Twins won't burn the challenge. They used the challenge early in the game yesterday and didn't win the challenge. And were left without for the balance of the game, or at least until the 7th inning when they could appeal to the umpires. So the Twins don't quite turn the around the horn double play. The inning's still alive with 2 out. Here's James Loney. That's hit to left center field. And down for a hit. Longoria will go to third base. A double, a single, still nothing on the board for the Rays. Take a look at the Twins out in the field. Eduardo Escobar back out in the outfield after a 1-game stint at short. Aaron Hicks in center. Torrey Hunter, as Jack mentioned, the designated hitter, and that opens up right field for Eddie Rosario. Plouffe, Santana, Dozier, Mauer, the infielders. Chris Herman hasn't caught in a week and a half, and he gets a start here today. Brandon Geyer will hit with runners at first and third and 2 down. Foul by a couple of feet. Mauer jumped for the ball, and the worst possible scenario there was that he touches it but doesn't catch it, because if he touches it while he's in fair territory, that would have been a fair ball. There was enough slice on it to send it into foul territory. 1 strike. The numbers for Gibson in April a little fat, just a 1-2 mark, 26 hits, 22 1/3 innings, and an ERA of just under 5. But he's really cut down on the number of hits coming into the game today. 13 hits in 21 innings pitched. And here are the Rays with a couple of first inning hits, but still no runs on the board.
And you would expect as this game moves along, Kyle will get a little better command. Those balls that have been hit were up in the zone. Kyle, like a lot of the sinker ball pitchers over the years, when they get it above the belt, it flattens out, straightens out, really has very little movement. And when he's on top of the ball and keeps it below the hands, it gets the movement that he wants.
1-2 to Brandon Geyer. Chopper to short. Santana flips to Dozier. Inning ends. The hits do no damage. A scoreless top of the first inning. To get his managerial career underway, Paul Mahler's done a great job. The Twins right now with the 8th best record in the major leagues. The Menard batting order for the final game of this series. Brian Dozier leading things off. Torrey Hunter, Joe Mauer, Trevor Plouffe, Eduardo Escobar, Chris Herman, Eddie Rosario, Aaron Hicks, and Danny Santana.
They're going to be facing Chris Archer. He's always worn those socks high. Different look for a starter. He's a good one. In his last start, he struck out 8 New York Yankees, all with that breaking ball. He's got a very good breaking ball. He's making his 9th start of the year, and he has allowed 3 earned runs or fewer, a club record 15 consecutive road starts. So Twins are going to have their hands full today. They're going to have to be patient and not let him get to that breaking ball.
Dozier in the box. Here we go. First pitch is up high. The Yankees kind of ambushed Archer early. Scored a couple of runs in the first inning, and then he really buckled down. It was said of his game that he didn't really have his great stuff, but he found a way after a rough first inning to still give the Rays a quality start. 1-1.
The first 5 Yankees reached base, 5 consecutive hitters, and then he kind of shut the door.
Outside, 2-1. Rays have been earning the admiration of everybody in baseball because they keep producing guys like Archer. David Price is gone now. Swing and a miss, 2-2. Jeremy Hellickson's gone. And James Shields is gone. But they keep, with their pipeline, producing guys like Archer. Jim Hickey deserves a lot of credit. So too the Twins pitching coach Neil Allen, who worked at their AAA level for 6 years. Archer gave Neil Allen a lot of credit for helping him a couple years ago, and Archer was sent to the AAA level to perfect and to gain confidence in a changeup. And of course, that's Neil Allen's bag here with the Twins to try to establish off-speed pitches and confidence in such pitches. 3-2.
There are some organizations, and Tampa seems to be kind of leading the pack of getting kids to the big leagues in a hurry. You know, I think part of that is because of their constant turnover in rosters.
Pretty good plate appearance for Dozier to get things started. He's been drawing a lot of walks lately. A couple of them yesterday and an early one here today. Northland Ford defense for the Rays. David DeJesus in left, Kiermaier in center, Brandon Geyer in right. Longoria showed yesterday he's still among the best third basemen defensively. Cabrera Franklin up the middle, Loney at first, and Bobby Wilson doing the catch.
Like the Twins, Kevin Cash mixing up his lineup here on a Sunday, giving a few guys a little bit of rest. Nick Franklin coming back off the disabled list.
Open in ball one. And then two, assuming that this game is played, not postponed until tomorrow. Managers more and more, it seems like, they're using the off day either before it or afterward to give somebody like Kurt Suzuki a couple days off in a row. Suzuki not in the lineup today, and with the off day tomorrow. Ooh, check swing off the handle of a bat, 1-1. Especially for catchers, I would think that's important to rebuild your legs and give them a little recovery time.
I think you don't ask Kurt Suzuki. You just tell him you're not playing today. This guy would catch every single game of spring training and every single game of the year, and then every postseason game if you were fortunate enough to get there. He wants to play every day, and Paul's got to kind of throttle him and let him know that he needs a little rest once in a while.
Wind might help carry that one out of play. The wind blowing in from the plaza area in right field, and at times it's blowing pretty good in from right field. Hunter sends it just over the screen. He'll stand up there with a 1-2 count. See the fans above the left field grandstand. Essentially wind blowing from right field to left field. High and tight, 2-2.
Like Kyle Gibson the first inning, Chris Archer doesn't have his pinpoint command. A lot of times it takes excuse me, an inning or two for pitchers to kind of get dialed into the field mound compared to the bullpen mound.
And now a full count to Hunter with Mauer on deck. A dozen pitches, only 5 strikes for Archer. As Gibson, the Twin starters, had it going in the month of May, Archer had it going in April when he had 4 starts in April without giving up an earned run. Dozier goes, and the pitch chopped back to the mound, and the out recorded at first. And in sending Dozier, the Twins might have stayed out of a double play.
Let's take a look at Chris Archer in his last start against the Yankees. You see the numbers there. He pitched in the 7th inning, only allowing the 7 hits, but all his strikeouts came on the breaking ball. He's got a very good slider, curveball, and he got him to chase out of the zone after a real rough start in that game.
Dozier at second with Mauer at the plate. Joe with an RBI chance right out of the chute here. Had a frustrating day at the plate yesterday. Fastball, strike 1. Dozier's second in the league in run scoring with 27, 1 behind Jacoby Ellsbury, Josh Donaldson, and Mike Trout.
We saw a play already that I think is a little bit of a changing of the guard with the Twins. Brian Dozier, by running on that count, staying out of the double play. We didn't see as much of that last year. And even though it's early in the ball game, a scoreless first inning so far, Paul Molitor, knowing that Brian Dozier has good speed and knowing that Torrey Hunter can make contact, he has him moving and avoiding a double play right there.
0-2 to Mauer. Dug out by Wilson, 1-2. things people ask me, I'm sure they ask you about the Twins so far, and my response is they're doing everything a little bit better than they have. But that said, there's an awful lot of room for improvement. This team can run the bases better. It can field better. It can pitch better. 1-2 to Mauer. They've hit well in situations like this, and Mauer comes through, and he'll put the Twins up 1-0. The one area statistically they have excelled in is hitting with men in scoring position, and Mauer delivers a first inning hit here to make it 1-0. And despite his problems yesterday, Mauer's been one of the team's best in driving in runs.
Joe gets a pitch to hit right there, and that's kind of the game plan for the Twins. Archer, when he's ahead in the count, he will get you to chase out of the zone. But that's a classic Joe Mauer swing right there. Ball about thigh high over the heart of the plate, and he just drives it with authority right back up the middle.
Rays got a couple of hits in the first inning and didn't score, and the Twins get a run on their first hit of the ball game. Here's Trevor Plouffe.
Leadoff walk, comes in to score. Shocking.
Plouffe takes down and in, ball 1. Here's Trevor Plouffe, the Twins cleanup hitter, and a solid year so far. 252. He's got the 5 home runs, 18 RBIs, but nothing extraordinary, nothing beyond what you'd expect Trevor Plouffe. And I think you can say that about everybody in this Twins lineup, that there isn't anybody to this point having a career year.
Well, with this exception, and I will argue for Trevor, his defense has been as good as possible.
But I mean,
I don't expect him to play any better defense than he has played, and he's improved so much in that department. Now, yeah, I agree with everything else you said, Dick, that the numbers offensively, you know, a little more consistency. Trevor's got the power. He's the guy we watch in batting practice. That sound off the bat is just different with him. He's got either strong hands or whatever, the point of contact. The ball really jumps off of Trevor, so he has the power.
Down the middle, 2-2.
And yet, right now, at 5 home runs, you know, is he going to be a 30-plus home run guy?
Approaching the quarter mark of the season, so you take some of these numbers and you multiply them by 4, and there isn't anything that jumps off the page, do you? You know,
right.
Trevor's on a pace to hit 20 home runs. 2-2 to Plouffe. Chopper to second. Archer lets it go. And safe at first. Nice little base running play by Mauer there as he slammed on the brakes and made Franklin tag him. And that gave Plouffe an extra step or 2 down the line. And the Rays may challenge that play at first base.
Take another look at it here. You see Joe just kind of freeze in the spot. Not really going to see it by that particular view, but maybe we will here. See Franklin tagging him out. Yeah. Never did touch him, by the way. Tagged him with an empty glove. Like
this is interesting. This looks almost identical as the Twins attempted double play in the first inning, except this one I think may get overturned. It looked like Loney caught the ball right before Trevor's foot hit the bag, and the Rays are going to use a challenge here. How do you fight the urge? You saw Archer start to raise his glove to try to field it, and then you catch yourself, I would imagine, out there that, wait a minute, the second baseman's going to have an easier play than I am.
Yeah, the ball's going to get there quicker if I don't touch it. Yeah, those are instantaneous reactions that you just, I call it baseball awareness. You just almost have to have a sixth sense of knowing, all right, I got both guys going to the bag here. It's a double play situation. Let the ball go.
Another look at the play at first. And they will complete the double play on challenge. So Plouffe hits into a double play, but before he does, Mauer drives in the first run of the game with a single.
distinct game plan about exactly what pitch he needs to use today to be successful.
He's got that good sinker, so that's our main focus is, making sure he keeps that sinker down and in on a lot of these righties who have a lot of power. So, I think just using his sinker well and then mixing in a few off-speed pitches here and there is what keeps him in the game and, makes him very successful.
Well, it's been working for Kyle Gibson, and talking to Gibson, you didn't think he's had his best stuff lately, but the numbers certainly don't say that.
Up and away. Thank you, Kevin. Ball 1 to David DeJesus. He'll be followed by Asdrubal Cabrera and Nick Franklin. DeJesus enjoyed hitting against the Twins when he was with the Royals, and he's continued to hit well against the Twins here. And DeJesus has a leadoff single here in the second inning.
That's where you tip your cap to the hitter. Kyle made his pitch. The ball was down in the zone, down and away. He hit the spot he wanted to. He had pretty decent movement with it, but David DeJesus does a really nice job of just keeping his hands and head still, going with the pitch. Good hitting right there.
7 prior starts, 9 ground ball double plays for Gibson. They're trying to get Cabrera to hit it on the ground at somebody. And maybe needing to set up and at bat with that first pitch up and in.
Not a bad pitch right there. When you see guys hitting your pitch, and in Kyle's case right there, the pitch that he threw to DeJesus was a pitch that he needs. And the guys are going to be able to shoot it out that way. You've got to straighten them up once in a while and keep them honest.
Three hits and 6 at bats against Gibson.
Had a great conversation before this series started with pitching coach Neil Allen about the fact that a lot of young pitchers been told their whole lives, you got to pitch inside, you got to move their feet, got to make them uncomfortable. But the fact that we both acknowledge that there are guys just not built to do that. They say, yeah, I threw at it, I threw inside, I brushed him off the plate, and then they look at the video and the ball's right down the middle, and they just don't realize that in means in. Making them move means making them move, and there's guys that just won't do it. I think Kyle Gibson is kind of learning the art of being able to move guys.
Missing the inside corner spring training when the team was away. Neil Allen was working with some of the pitchers. I think I've related this story before, and the whole point of the drill was to pitch inside to right-handed and left-handed batters. Neil Allen himself would stand in the box challenging the pitchers to bust him inside. And one of the pitchers who was working on the drill threw a two-seamer that ran, and pitching coach wasn't too pleased with that. He said, you don't want to throw a two-seamer there. You want to throw a four-seamer with, a little rise to it or a little life to it at the end to, as you say, stand them up. 3-1 now to Cabrera. There goes the runner to strike. Herman's throw in time to get him.
What a play by Danny Santana. Absolutely a great athletic play by the shortstop there. The throw is way off towards the second base side. Chris Herman acknowledging it. That was just a great effort for Danny. Let's watch it again here. DeJesus takes a good jump and the throw way up the line. He's got to go back and then reach back across his body, make the tag before David DeJesus actually touches the bag.
Look at that, airborne and then making the catch. And then the tag, the pitch called a strike. It's 3-2. Pulled foul. It can't be easy if you're Herman. He hasn't caught in a week and a half. And whatever position you play in, it's probably more true for a catcher. He's throwing out runners at a 50% clip, even though he doesn't catch on a regular basis.
And that's part of pregame practice. You just don't do much. You do it in the game. And catchers typically, unless it's been just a long time or there's a need to work on it, they're not going to put on their gear and go throw down to second base. play catch, but it's a whole different feel.
Gibson's pitch count up a little bit. Of course, he's given up 3 hits. Herman with a new baseball and a little chat. Gibson didn't walk anybody in his last start over 7 innings against the Tigers. And another foul ball. 8 pitches in this at bat, trying to climb back from 3-1 with a runner at first. The runner at first is no longer there. Gibson doesn't want to replace DeJesus with Cabrera. That's to left center. Escobar there for the catch. A couple of balls hit out that way that I thought were hit more to the gap, and I don't know if the wind is creating a little more slice to those balls or not, but it's out number 2. And we'll bring up Nick Franklin. First game of the year for Franklin. Just activated today. And Gibson would love to get a very quick 3rd out. Swing and a miss.
Kyle doing a good job of getting first pitch strikes.
Swing and a miss.
Well, you see a guy miss the ball 2 times on swings like that. What's the plan? Let's throw it again, right? Maybe throw it a little bit lower, make sure that it's not a hanger. Chris Herman wants him to go up in the zone here with fastball. Change the eye level.
1-2. Franklin, part of a 3-way trade. David Price sent out of Tampa Bay. Drew Smiley, Franklin ended up in Tampa Bay. 2-2. Austin Jackson going to Seattle. Franklin was hurt in spring training and is just now getting his big league season begun. The 35th pitch of the ball game for Kyle Gibson.
Change up.
And another 3-ball count.
Apparently Kyle is not aware that there might be some weather moving in. He needs to pick up the pace a little bit, get quicker outs. He's got a lead to work with.
And got the inside corner to strike him out. Only 3 batters faced in a scoreless 2nd inning. Knothole Kids Day vouchers at any local Super America. Twins leading 1-0. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD and over 400 mobile and connected devices. Visit MLB.TV for details. Strike one to Eduardo Escobar, who will lead off the Twins' second inning. 4 hits yesterday for Escobar as he returned to the shortstop position and now back out in left field. 1-1.
And Paul Molitor has really acknowledged that he's not an outfielder. He prefers to put him in to kind of give Danny Santana some rest. Maybe once in a while play third base for Trevor Plouffe. Once in a while maybe second base for Brian Dozier.
Foul back.
But the fact that he's been hitting the ball so well, he's kind of been forcing him to play the outfield. And now the Twins have some guys that are real legit outfielders, and Rosario and Hicks.
2-2. Back to Archer. And he runs it a third of the way there. 1 down. Today's Coors Banquet Timeless Moment on this date. In 1963, my favorite Twin of all time, Bob Allison, was the first Twin to hit 3 home runs in a single game when he hit 3 out against the Indians. As I've said many times, Jack, growing up in western Minnesota, Bob Allison was my favorite Twin. I wanted to be like Bob Allison. I wanted to be tall.
You were
good looking and athletic. And that 1 for 3. Right? In baseball, that's pretty good. If you're 1 for 3, you're pretty good. And I'm 6'2", so I made the tall part.
There you go.
Inside to Herman. 1-1.
Yeah, Bob Allison, I think when we were kids, he was kind of that, I don't know, almost chiseled type of guy that was bigger than life, strong man. You know, he's that Greek god kind of figure, I think.
I confessed to Harmon once, who, by the way, passed away 4 years ago today. It seems longer ago than that for some reason, but Herman with a bunt with the entire left side of the infield open, but he popped into the screen. I confessed to Harmon once. He was my broadcast partner for a number of years. I said, you know, Harmon, I'm sorry, but Bob was my favorite Twin. He goes, well, he was my favorite Twin, too. They were roommates for many years. 2-2 to Herman. Rosario will follow. Man, swing and a miss. First strikeout for Chris Archer. 2 down. Who was your guy growing up? Because you and I are kind of contemporaries, and you had the same following I did as a kid.
You know, it's funny. We all loved Harmon. Obviously, he was our big power hitter. Guy that hit the ball, like you say, and I love the description. The ball seems to get small in a hurry. And that kind of describes Harmon Killebrews' swings.
A drive to right field off the bat of Rosario, leaping and making a spinning catch in right field. Brandon Geyer. Rosario in his first at bat showed opposite field power, and he pulled one just short of the fence in right. It's a 1-2-3 second inning.
We'll get back to that.
go to the third inning. Bobby Wilson, the backup catcher, leading things off. Outside, ball 1. Wilson, Kiermaier, and Forsythe facing Gibson, who's given up a couple of leadoff hits already in the ball game, but yet in the second inning faced just 3 men. 1-1. All right, your guy, your twin growing up.
Well, like I said, Harmon was kind of everybody's guy, but I had 4 guys, okay, and I'll try to explain this because one of them didn't really fit the era that we're talking about. It was Bob Allison, like you said, Harmon Killebrew, Tony Oliva, and Rod Carew. Carew was younger than the rest of them. But as I look back now, and you asked me today, so I'm going to answer it from my perspective today, it would be Jim Cott.
Really?
And the reason I say that is not only do I think Jim Cott is a Hall of Famer for what he did on the field, to pitch and wear a uniform for 26 seasons is just, to me, off the charts impressive. But I think he's a Hall of Fame broadcaster and just a great guy. He's been very supportive. Personally, he's been wonderful to me over the years, and I can't express to people enough how much he means to me.
Off the end of the bat, and Gibson stops, then goes to the bag, and he missed the bags. Hit right off the end of the bat. A 3-2 breaking ball, and Wilson hit it right off the end of the bat. Gibson reached for it. Bauer went for the ball, and then Gibson restarted the engine and went to first and caught the ball but couldn't feel for the bag.
Yeah, he froze there a little bit, not really realizing that Joe was going over there.
Another leadoff hit for the Rays. Well, Jim Cott and 22 other members, I was told today, of the 65 Twins are coming back for the reunion at the end of July. Camilo Pascual. Yeah. And that is going to be a very fun celebration for those of us who are old enough to remember that team. Here's Kiermaier. He started the game with a double and then was thrown out trying to advance to third on the next at bat. 1-0. Kiermaier, it would figure, be a tough guy to double up because he runs so well. And he takes outside 2-0. There's a strike taken at the knees. Mentioned before, 7 prior starts and 9 ground ball double plays, which ties him with Tim Hudson for the major league lead.
Kyle Gibson, he's a sinker ball pitcher, and that's his bread and butter. Gets base runners on. That's what that good sinker will do. Slider.
Missed the inside corner, another 3-ball count.
Pitch count getting up there for Kyle. It's not part of what his game plan was today.
10th plate appearance, the 4th 3-ball count. Strike called. Bit of a delayed strike call by Paul Emmel, but now 3-2. I think Wilson would take off here. Pitch 5 was off the plate. Full count. Wilson stays put, and there's ball 4. First walk issued. Now first and second, nobody out for Logan Forsythe.
Kyle hasn't exactly had smooth sailing. He did have a 1-2-3 second inning, but like you mentioned, Dick, it was the leadoff hit.
Forsythe has yet to bounce into a double play this year in 126 at bats. He had tried to bunt Kiermaier over to third base, but bunted it too hard back to Gibson, and the Twins ended up getting the out at third. Down and away, ball 1. Ball 2.
Good time right there. I was just thinking, you know, Kurt Suzuki probably would take a trip to the mound right there. And good to see Chris Herman doing the same thing.
2-0. Gibson just hasn't thrown many pitches from the windup. Kiermaier opened the first with a double. Wilson opened, or excuse me, DeJesus opened the second with a single. Wilson opened the third with his infield hit. And now 2-0.
You bring up a good point in what it means to a pitcher to pitch out of the stretch in the windup. I think the guys in the bullpen are used to they're always pitching out of the stretch. A lot of them come into the game, never pitch out of the windup. But for starters, psychologically, it meant the world to me to throw out of the windup. And yet, the numbers probably will never indicate that there was a big difference between the stretch and the windup. But I felt like I had 3 times more out of the windup than I did out of the stretch.
2-1. Under the glove of Dozier. Wilson around third. He'll be held there, and they are loaded up now with nobody out. Gibson, who's fielded his position so well, had that one get by him, and then Dozier tried to knock it down but couldn't. Full of Rays with nobody out, and Longoria coming to the plate.
Longoria and then Loney, the two real power guys in their lineup. Kyle Gibson's got himself a little Houdini act to pull here to get out of this inning.
Longoria narrowly stayed out of a double play his first time up. Twins are hoping for another opportunity here. They'll concede the tying run if they can get 2 on 1 pitch. Instead, it's ripped to left field. Wilson will score to tie the game. Kiermaier will be held at third. And the first 4 batters have reached on 3 singles and a walk.
And Neil Allen now is going to come out and have a little chat with Kyle Gibson.
Loney will bat. Gibson was able to pitch around the leadoff hits in innings 1 and 2, but not here in the third.
We talked about Kyle's lack of success against the Tampa Bay Rays. Today is his 4th start, and he is 0-3 with a almost 10 ERA. And yet this is almost, other than maybe Loney and Longoria, a completely different lineup for him. And what is it about certain teams that just have your number? Whatever is it, that crazy thought in the back of your mind, you're very aware of it. I had those teams. And
well, it wasn't the Twins, I know that.
No, and it wasn't Cleveland either, but the Brewers, Boston when we were all young players, New York, had a tough time with those clubs.
Here's Loney. Loney singled his first time up against Gibson. He's 5 for 8 against Gibson. Tapper to first. Mauer will go to second and narrowly get the out there. And both Mauer and Gibson at the bag. They get 1 but not 2. And the go-ahead run scores. It's 2-1.
Joe needed to get that ball to short quicker than that. He was kind of guiding the ball. Maybe the base runner was blocking it, but that's a play where you've got to get rid of the ball, have a chance for a double play. You see this ball hit to Joe, and Joe just takes his sweet time getting the ball down to second base.
Twins are lucky that throw didn't hit Longoria. Double play in order here is a 2-run inning so far. Brandon Geyer will hit. Wind really gusting here now, blowing in from the plaza area in right field, swirling around target field. Remember, this inning started with Wilson's squibber right off the end of the bat.
A little confusion, a little mix up there. Kyle did not see Joe Mauer going to get that ball on that little spinning. It would end up being a base hit. Just that moment of hesitation did not give him enough time to cover first.
6 hits for the Rays. 0-2, and this is where even Gibson, who knows he's not a strikeout pitcher, he'd like to bear down and get one here. What is his strikeout pitch? Breaking ball, changeup?
You know, I think it's that fastball that freezes the guy. You know, when you're running the ball down and in, and you're running the ball down and away, they're looking a lot of times below their hands, and when you can throw that four-seamer and just straighten the guy up, that pitch right there is what I'm talking about. Sometimes that'll freeze a guy.
It looked like it was in off the plate, but Geyer was still able to whip the bat around and make contact.
It can be a changeup too. Kyle is still working on developing a good changeup. We talked about Neil Allen trying to help teach that pitch to a lot of the Twins pitchers.
2 strikes to Geyer. Closer to the bag, but still foul. And it has to be tough if you're out there. I mean, Gibson, pretty smart guy. He realizes that this might be the game here. The Rays already have 2. They got 2 guys on, and pitchers are always saying, I don't want to get beat with my third best pitch.
Well, and you're also very aware of your mound opponent. Archer, if he gets dialed in, could make it tough. So runs could be at a premium.
0-2 again to Geyer. Low. The fastball.
One of the things I was talking with Neil Allen about, he confessed that when he got the job as the Twins pitching coach, he had some friend of his who was a research guy, and I don't know how they got this information, but he was just curious to see how many more changeups as a staff the Tampa Bay Rays threw than the Minnesota Twins staff.
To Plouffe. They'll come home. Herman with a block. Got him. No chance to get 2. And Plouffe alertly comes home to get the out. 2 down, runners at first and second. Sometimes you talk about a player improving and its instincts or reaction that aren't considered, but this was the right play here because I don't think that ball was hit hard enough to get 2.
Number 1, keep the ball in front of you. Number 2, make a good throw to the catcher. Chris Herman now with this new rule change has to give the base runner a lane, and so you got to get the ball to him quick enough that he can move out into that lane and tag him. It's a good play.
Here is DeJesus, 3 for 3 in his career against Kyle Gibson, including his leadoff single in the second. Just took a pitch down and away, and he dumped it into left field in front of Escobar. 1-0.
Back to my conversation with Neil Allen and the number of changeups. I don't know if it was over a 1-year or a 2-year period, but the number that he was told was that the Tampa Bay Rays staff threw 2,300 more changeups than the Minnesota Twins staff.
It better be 2 years worth.
It must be, but I mean, that's remarkable, the difference.
On the outside corner, 1-1.
And we're basically giving him and Jim Hickey credit for developing young pitchers on a consistent basis over there in Tampa.
Well, what they have done there for years, and maybe the AAA guy deserves more credit than the big league coach. 1-1. Pulled to first. When they come up to the big leagues, they're ready to pitch up there, and so you have to tip your cap and give some of the credit to the guy who worked with him in the minor leagues. A 2-run third for the Rays, and they've got a 1-run lead. Century Link, your link to what's next. By NorthlandFord.com and your local Northland Ford dealer. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. Now Gibson working through a difficult third inning, giving up a couple of runs. Twins down a run, and Aaron Hicks will lead things off in the third, taking all the way and taking strike one. It'll be Hicks, Santana, and Dozier facing Archer in the third. Foul back. Hicks hitless in the game yesterday, but in its own way a gratifying game for Hicks, because one of the things the Twins have tried to impress upon him, he's so supremely talented physically that he can impact the game even in days when he doesn't do particularly well at the plate. Left a lot of guys on base and all that, but made maybe a game-saving catch in the gap. 2 strikes. And a high fastball gets him. He's gone quickly here in the third. And that'll bring up Danny Santana.
Second strikeout now for Chris Archer. Yeah, Aaron Hicks is a fine athlete, no question, and he actually hit the ball hard a few times. Let's take another look here at the difference. And another thing we talked about the Tampa Bay Rays pitching staff likes to do, and that's elevate above the letters when they're ahead in the count. See if the hitters will chase.
Santana bunts and gets a base hit in front of Longoria. Hicks tried that yesterday and laid down what we thought was a perfect bunt, but Longoria made the play. This time Santana, a little backspin on the bunt. The ball just died for a hit.
Longoria just has to go too far. The ball just dies right there. He's quick to get to the ball, but Danny Santana just too quick out of the box. And I'd like to see that. It's something I know the Twins have been working on more and more to try to, get those speed guys on the base paths via the bunt.
Here's Dozier, walked and scored his 28th run of the year in the first inning. In the dirt, smothered by Wilson. Dozier, as far as we know, tied with Mike Trout and 2 others for the league lead in runs scored. He has responded very well to being moved back to the leadoff spot. A lot of veteran hitters for the Twins are back now in their comfort range. Dozier in the leadoff spot. Hunter batting second. There goes Santana. High and tight is the pitch. And Santana is safe at second. Nearly overslid the bag. And the Twins get Santana's speed now in scoring position.
Dozier almost gets hit with that ball, and then Bobby Wilson airmails that throw down to second base. The umpire taking a good look to see if Danny keeps his foot on the bag.
2-0 to Dozier. This would be a good run for the Twins to get, because I know as we approach the quarter mark of the season, Paul Molitor would like to use his bunting and running game more effectively than the Twins have to this point.
It's a weapon that the Twins possess.
High fly to center field. Going back is Kiermaier at the fence. He makes the catch. Santana will tag and go to at least third base, and that'll be it. Dozier nearly in uncharted waters, nearly hit one out to center field. 2 down. I don't believe we've ever seen Brian hit home runs anywhere but to left field. And that'll bring Hunter to the plate. But if you're trying to build confidence in somebody like Santana, who's still a work in progress, what better way than to have him bunt for a base hit, steal second, and then maybe score on a single.
I've always said that what made Rod Carew a Hall of Famer was the fact that he bunted. When he got in a slump, he knew that no matter what, he could lay a bunt down and get a base hit. And it wasn't about anything other than seeing the ball down first before he ran out of the box. Danny Santana's got the same kind of speed as Rod Carew. They're similar in that aspect. If he could learn that aspect of the game, he would be a year in, year out 300 hitter.
Hunter nearly bunted for an RBI single. Longoria playing way back in the skin of the infield. Ball one. One thing that has been evident through this month-long stretch now where the Twins have been really, really good. They're 20-10 in their last 30 games. They very often answer when the other team scores. We saw it in play again yesterday. Now here are the Rays. They had a long top of the third inning, scored a couple of runs, and the Twins in position to at least get the game tied up here. High pop up, and that's going to come back out of play. Wilson never saw it. It's into the second level here.
What you're basically talking about, Dick, is the fact that, you know, those runners in scoring position are so critical. You don't get a lot of opportunities, and the good pitchers make it even harder on you. So you have to take advantage of the opportunities.
1-2 to Hunter, the designated hitter today. Foul tip. Wilson hangs on. No.
Ball hit the ground.
Torrey nodding first with home plate umpire Paul Emmel. And Torrey said, hey, check the baseball. See if there's a scuff mark. No argument from Wilson, but the veteran Hunter just talked his way into a longer at bat. He was called out and asked the umpire to check for a scuff mark. Clearly the ball is in the dirt.
Now Torrey's looking at the pitcher. That's just hearing. That's just a sense of hearing it, because there's no way his eyes were on that baseball, but he was right.
Emmel made the call curiously on his own when he could have, you know, asked for some help from some of the other umpires.
First base, Jordan Baker. Third base is Jerry Meals. But yeah, he typically would ask the first base umpire for a little help there.
We'll see where this leads. One and two to Hunter. Foul back. Torrey with 21 runs batted in. 6 home runs, so you take those numbers and multiply them by 4, and just looks an awful lot like his numbers the last few years with the Tigers and before that with the Angels. Flared foul over the Twins dugout.
Well, if nothing else, he's making Archer's pitch count rise a little bit, grinding out this at bat, battling some tough pitches there, foul them off.
One and two again. And now 2-2. So this will be a minimum 4 more pitches that Archer's got to throw here to get out of the third inning, even if he strands Santana at third. Eighth pitch of this at bat. Tapper to Longoria. And that ends it. Twins strand Santana at third base. And the Rays have a 2-1 lead. before that, we will bring you our carsoup.com trivia question. Which Twins manager was the quickest to 20 wins in his first season? Now, you might think Tom Kelly, but as I recall, his first full season, 1987, Twins didn't get off to a great start. They just played pretty well toward the end to win the division. Here's Cabrera, swing and a miss.
Well, see, I always take this angle. I don't know if those guys in the truck are trying to trick us right there.
Yes, I can answer that. Yes,
they had the camera on Paul Molitor, and obviously the Twins have done quite well after their rough first week.
I gotta believe it's Ron Gardenhire. 2002 team played with a little vengeance after almost being disbanded and dispersed in the contraction threat. 2 strikes to Cabrera. Franklin and Wilson will follow. And now 1-2. Gibson's had kind of a tough go of it here today. Already 66 pitches, only 9 outs. And it's just been an unusual game for him. He's usually very orderly, you know, getting 1, 2, 3 innings and maybe some base runners, an occasional strikeout. But there almost been as many outs on the bases as there have been at home plate and the first base. 1 down. May 26th is Scrubs Night at Target Field, saluting healthcare professionals in the area. A special ticket package is available that includes exclusive Twins branded scrub tops. Now, I'm glad they clarified. It's just the tops. It's not the pants. Limited number of ticket packages are available, and your only way to get your Twins scrubs. You can visit twinsbaseball.com/healthcare for tickets. More info. I think the scrubs would go great with last year's Zubas that they gave out. That would be a very comfortable outfit.
Oh boy. I think that's something you need to wear in your own house, not in public.
Yeah, I hadn't planned on wearing it to the Diamond Awards this winter or anything like that. There's Franklin, balled out on strikes his first time up, and on the outside corner. So you don't think the scrubs thing would be a good thing for you and I to wear on the air?
Maybe for you. It's not a look that I just don't look like I'm a doctor ready to operate.
If things had not worked out for you as a baseball player in college, what was your major?
I was going to be a home builder, building construction.
Really? 2 down.
And that I quickly learned was not a profession I wanted to pursue.
Okay.
So I really worked hard at baseball.
You can enter now for a chance to win a trip to the MLB All-Star Game on Fox for you and 3 of your friends. All you have to do is upload 2 photos at foxsports.com/fantastic all-star now through June 3rd. Now you've got to be awfully lucky too, because there's going to be a lot of entrants in this contest. If you upload 2 photos, you are entered with a possibility to win. Gibson with a really good inning. 10 pitches and a 1-2-3-4. Minnesota. Share and tag your Minnesota experiences with #OnlyInMN. For its 75th anniversary, the Walker Art Center is taking a look back, starting at its beginnings as the private collection of a millionaire lumber baron and traveling through decades of taking chances on the unknown and pushing boundaries, something we do up here in the TV booth on a nightly basis. Joe Mauer will lead off the fourth. Twins down a run against Chris Archer. Mauer, Plouffe, and Escobar. Twins have just a couple of hits in the one run. Mauer drove it in the first inning. Up and in, ball one. Mauer, Plouffe, and Escobar, the 3, 4, and 5 batters, facing Chris Archer. That's to Longoria, boots it around a little bit, picks it up, and gets Mauer at first. Hit his glove, hit his knee, but stayed in his vicinity, and he was able to make the play. One down, that'll bring up Plouffe.
Well, kids, this is why they teach you to stay with the ball, know your runner. You're not always going to field them cleanly, but you keep the ball in front of you. And Evan Longoria even picks up the ball with his glove, which you're not taught to do. You're supposed to barehanded it, but desperate times bring out desperate measures, I guess.
Plouffe with one down takes down and away ball one. Plouffe ended up bouncing into a double play in the first inning to end the inning, but it took a challenge, replay challenge, to get the ruling right. Up and in, 2-0.
You feel like Chris Archer's starting to settle in a little bit, getting a better feel on the mound.
And Plouffe drives one on a line to center field, a one-out single.
Trevor sitting on that breaking ball right there, and it wasn't a real crisp one. It's sort of a spinning, I like to call it a washing machine breaking ball.
Well, we certainly wish the best for Justin Morneau in our Sanford Health injury report. Justin put on the 7-day concussion list yesterday. He's having a good year for the Rockies. And of course, had his concussion issues with the Twins, so we hope the 7 days will be enough to get Justin back in the lineup. Eduardo Escobar will bat. Hit a comebacker to Archer, his first time up. And there'll need to be a tag at second. Plouffe will try to stay alive on a rundown, but it's another double play grounder. Loney getting the out at first, and the tag applied. The Twins are done on the board. And youngsters celebrating a day at the ballpark and the imminent end of the school year. An exciting time and hopefully a wonderful summer ahead for everybody in Twins territory. Kevin Kiermaier will start the 5th inning. He takes strike 1. Both starting pitchers have had some unpleasantness to deal with in the early innings, and Gibson too is settling down. He's retired 6 batters in a row. Some in rather curious fashion. The Rays have made it out at second base, third base, and at the plate. Kiermaier, Forsythe, and Longoria will hit in the 5th inning. Check swing. 2-1.
Kyle needed that 4th inning, 10-pitch inning. His pitch count quite high going into the 5th inning here. And you can see that big 3rd inning is what really was a hurting one for him.
3-1. Gibson will walk Kiermaier his last time up, and ended up seeing Kiermaier come around to score the go-ahead run.
Kyle just fighting himself a little today. Doesn't have that command. Pace is a little slower.
Poke to left, and Escobar near the line. The wind pushing it even further. He's able to make a fair ball catch. 1 down. Shelby Miller for the Braves took a no-hitter through the 8th into the 9th inning, got the first 2 batters, and then Miami's Justin Bour hit a clean single up the middle, and Miller did not get the no-hitter, obviously.
Close, but no cigar.
Yeah, now you got the 1 in Chicago, right? Was that
yes?
It was an opening day. It was the first week of the season, wasn't it? I remember on a game of the week. Right.
First game of the week.
First Saturday, right?
April 7th.
Were there any other opportunities where you took a no-hitter into the 9th?
No, but I witnessed my teammate a year later, Milt Wilcox in Chicago, have a perfect game for 8 2/3, and then Jerry Hairston Jr. broke up that perfect game. So,
well, it was 17 years ago today that David Wells pitched his perfect game against the Twins in New York. And when I come across stats like that, I feel really old, because that doesn't seem that long ago at all. That's a fair ball past a reaching Trevor Plouffe, and it will be an extra base hit, a double for Logan Forsythe. A 1-out double into the left field corner, and that'll bring up Evan Longoria.
watch Forsythe here. Just keep that ball inside the bag. Trevor Plouffe doing a good job of trying to get to it, but just out of his reach. Forsythe doing a good job of getting down the first baseline and forcing a great throw from Eduardo Escobar to be able to even come close to getting him out at second.
Longoria singled to left his last time up. So have you ever seen a major league perfect game?
I don't think I've witnessed it in person.
17 years ago at Yankee Stadium.
I watched Randy Johnson throw a no-hitter against my Tiger team.
I remember feeling on edge in the ninth inning because I realized I might be witnessing some baseball history, but it was the wrong kind of history. You know, nobody wants to have a no-hitter or a perfect game thrown against them. 2-0. And a strike.
Yeah, that's when you go in. You're the losing pitcher in a game like that. You go in and you look at the guys and say, "You guys stumped." Of course, then your teammates, and Hicks goes after it.
Number 2.
Then your teammates say, "Well, if you would have done what he did, we'd have had a chance.
We'd still be playing."
Yeah.
Combine your love of the Twins and College of St. Benedict and St. John's University by attending CSB SJU night at Target Field on June 17th. The game is against the Cardinals. And you can see the game, receive a limited edition red and white Twins cap. Visit twinsbaseball.com/SJU for tickets. and more information. 2 down, Forsythe still at second, and now James Loney.
Big out for Kyle right here. He's going to have to keep this game within reach.
Breaking ball missing low.
Good movement. You can see that ball move, tailing back a little bit. And he keeps his hand on top of the ball.
I'll be interested to hear Kyle's comments after the game today. He's very analytical and self-deprecating at times if he feels the need to. But I'll bet you he'll say something along the lines, this being one of those starts where he really didn't feel like he had good stuff, but still maybe, hopefully, fought through, pitched 5-6 innings, and still gave himself a chance to win a ball game. Loney will be intentionally walked here to get Geyer to the plate.
Yeah, it'll be curious because I agree with you. I don't think this is Kyle at his best. He's battling through it. He's doing what he can to give his team a chance.
It's going to be his 90th pitch here.
Pitch count way too high for Kyle.
Neil Allen on the phone, and it looks like if he can pitch out of this here, 5 innings might be enough. 105 pitches on his last start, 104 start before that. Clock strikes presented by Dodge. And there just hasn't been any rhythm. You know, he had the 1, 2, 3, 4th inning, a strikeout, couple of ground balls.
We talked about it earlier. He's just been pitching out of the stretch so much in this game.
Be a changeup for a called strike. Chop foul, 2 strikes. Geyer's 0 for 2. He's got Gibson has gotten Geyer to beat it into the ground twice. Two strikes to Geyer. Breaking ball rocketed to center field. Forsythe to third. He's being waved around. Hicks with a throw off line and up the line. And the Rays get a 2-out hit and now lead 3-1. On an 0-2 pitch, those sting a little more than the others, don't they?
Brian Dunsing's been throwing in the Twins bullpen. The left-handed hitter DeJesus at the plate. I wonder if maybe Paul Molitor might make a move here.
DeJesus 1 for 2 is 3 for 4 against Gibson. And no move from the Twins dugout. They're going to try to get at least one more out of Gibson. Pop back and out of play, 1 strike. Eight hits for the Rays. One strike to DeJesus. Division play yesterday. Everybody but the Royals won. It's been a good weekend for American League Central teams. The Tigers have gone to St. Louis. Cardinals hardly ever lose at home, and Tigers have beaten them twice there. This one on the ground. Dozier, nice stop. Fires from his knees. Bauer safe at first. A run will score. We'll see if the Twins challenge that play. Dozier couldn't get much on his throw. And DeJesus credited right now with a base hit. And right now it's a 4-1 lead, but let's take a look.
You see Brian Dozier so many times getting the balls like that from his knees, making a throw.
He's out.
I think he's out.
That's going to be a fine play by Dozier to put an end to the inning, save at least one run. And Paul Molitor, you might have been able to hear. Why don't you check that one out? I think Twins are going to win this challenge and finally an end to the 5th inning. Dozier with a diving catch. He had no play at second base. And right there, I think DeJesus barely clipped it first.
That last angle, it makes it a little harder for us to see how deep into the glove the ball actually travels.
Out. End of inning. And DeJesus is not too happy about it, but justice prevails. The Rays add one more in the 5th inning and lead 3-1.
Lottery. Ike from Oak Grove, the winner. Interesting sign. I've never seen something quite like this. This is your kid's godfather. His name is Don. That's perfect. The Don. Yep. What a neat story and what a great sign.
Thank you very much. I had to make it.
Are the kids watching right now? Are they getting to see their godfather on the broadcast?
They are. Hi, Allie. Hi, Mandy.
Well, I tell you what, now Jack Morris is a lot thinner than this guy, but if Jack ever took up riding the motorcycle with Dan Gladden, he might look something like that. Cool picture, guys. Congratulations. Thanks for circling him, Jack.
Thanks, Corgi.
Fouled back by Herman, 1-1. It'll be Herman, Rosario, and Hicks facing Archer, now pitching with a 2-run lead in the 5th. You a motorcycle guy? Danny Gladden rides a motorcycle?
Used to be.
Yeah.
Used to be, yep. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It's to short left. Jesus running toward the line, fighting the sun, making the catch. Good play by the left fielder, one down. Back in my college days, I had a motorcycle. It was a demon on the roads with my Suzuki 250.
I absolutely loved it.
With the metal flake helmet.
Yeah.
That was something to behold.
Maybe you could dig deep into the archives and find a picture of that to share with Danny and I.
Most pictures I've run across from my college days, I've destroyed.
Oh, darn.
Rosario takes up high. He sent Geyer to the warning track in right field his first time up.
I have a feeling that might have made the Dan Gladden wall over there.
Well, get visually abused in the radio booth. This one headed up the middle, and Rosario didn't hit that ball nearly as well as his first one. He thought about trying to stretch that into a double, but he'll take a 1-out single. Tonight on Fox Sports Live, you can get caught up on a full night of NHL and NBA playoff action, plus highlights on tonight's MLB games. You can see Fox Sports Live tonight on Fox Sports 1, or see it simulcast right here on Fox Sports North. Aaron Hicks struck out his first time up against Archer. Twins cautiously optimistic that Hicks has figured some things out. Just 19 at bats, 5 hits, 5 strikeouts, no walks yet, and that's a big part of his game. Strike on the outside corner.
Chris Archer's done a good job this year of avoiding the long ball. Twins could use that big bop right here, but only allowed 3 home runs in 48 2/3 innings coming into today's game.
On strike. Up and away. I think some people have the perception that Rosario is faster than he is. He runs well, but he's not a Danny Santana type. He doesn't have that kind of blazing speed. He's just a good base runner, slightly above average speed. But he goes to second. Hicks swings and misses. Wilson's throw.
Nice peek.
Second baseman Franklin caught it in right center field, and I'm not sure what happened on that throw other than the fact that the ball simply slipped out of Wilson's hands. Second stolen base for the Twins in the game. Hicks swinging and missing. It's 1-2.
Well, we'll see the grip here. We won't see the grip, but we'll see the throw. Whoops. See Franklin doing his best job at the Academy Awards.
2-2 now to Hicks. He's got a runner in scoring position in the third on a stolen base, but couldn't get the hit to bring Santana in. Rosario stealing his second big league base, and Hicks chops that one, strikes out. 2 down. That'll bring up Santana.
Just not recognizing that Archer there is going to try to expand the zone. Ball's down. He just couldn't lay off of it. Frustrating for Aaron Hicks right there to chase this ball. It actually bounces before Wilson. Third strikeout for Archer.
My goodness, the Marlins have just fired Mike Redmond. And their bench coach Rob Leary. That's unfortunate. Here's Danny Santana. Bunt single and a stolen base was left at third base in the third inning. Fouled back, a strike. He's trying to get a 2-out hit like the Rays got to get a run on the top half of this inning. And strike 2 call.
95-mile-an-hour fastball, pretty free and easy. Doesn't look like Archer really throws that hard, but he doesn't have that max effort type of delivery either. It's pretty effortless.
Ball away at 96. And now Wilson will talk about it with Archer. Archer, as we mentioned before, gave up some first inning runs to the Yankees in his last start and then settled down, and he's trying to duplicate that again here this afternoon. He's got a run after a leadoff walk. Mauer with an RBI single, and they haven't had a clutch hit against Archer since.
Well, he's got a club record, 3 earned runs or fewer, 15 consecutive road games. So he's been tough on the road and somehow wiggling out of jams here. The Twins aren't going to have many more opportunities. His 70th pitch coming up.
2-2 to Santana. The end of the bat. Still 2-2. Santana hitting much better from the other side of the plate this year, hitting just .227 left-handed. To battle a really good pitcher in Chris Archer. A piece, fouling it back. Santana used as the designated hitter last night or in yesterday's game. And today it's Torrey Hunter, Kenny Vargas, the usual DH, getting a couple of extra days in advance of the off day tomorrow. Another 2-2 pitch. Another foul ball.
We also talked about Kevin Cash and the fact that he uses the shift a lot. The runner in scoring position. He's got his guys pretty much playing straight up for Danny Santana.
See, we haven't seen much of the shifting today. Might have something to do with the starting pitcher, maybe. Santana making Archer work here in the 5th inning. And another foul ball. He hit that one right out of Wilson's mitt. See if Santana could get the payoff at the end of a really good at bat. Three and 2. Dozier on deck.
You knew that they were going to try to run one up in the zone and see if they could get Danny to chase. It's a good job of recognizing that right there. Maybe that ball was just too high to even make an offering at. But now we got some action. 2 outs. Full count. Runner will be going.
Tap to the right side. Franklin retires the side. Only forgot how many outs there were. And the Twins come up empty in the 5th.
Let's take a look at some of the pitchers that Kyle threw in his last half inning that were put into play. See that ball right there? It's exactly where Chris Herman was sitting, but the hitter doing a good job. That one up a little too high. He wants that ball down a little more, and this is the last one that ends up giving up the RBI. That's a baseball hit right back up the middle. Just not quite down. He didn't get that good movement down, the good sinker. Ball was a little bit too flat today.
As Drupal Cabrera will lead things off in the sixth. Yesterday, Dunsing came out of the pen through one pitch and got the win. And the first pitch here, tapped to the left side. Plouffe to Mauer, one away. If the Twins are going to stay above the 500 mark, and because of that stay relevant, they need Brian Dunsing to find himself again. He's had a difficult season. He's been hurt. He's had a hard time shaking off the rust now that he's back. Maybe one pitch thrown yesterday, and maybe a good outing here today will get him on track.
And maybe that's what Paul and Neil Allen are trying to do, is get him to in more games, get him up a few more times in the pen.
Well, the Twins are blessed to, with an effective Dunsing, have three really good lefties right now. Perkins closing, Thompson's been outstanding, and Dunsing has been outstanding before in his career, just off to a slow start. And the oblique injury, or the intercostal injury, that one hit hard to center, and Hicks is going to try to cut it off. Gets there, backhands it, running for second is Franklin. Here's the throw, and Dozier couldn't field the ball, and then ends up getting wiped out at second by Franklin. Hicks cutting the ball off, and I think if Dozier had been able to field the ball cleanly, he might have had a play.
Good job right there by Aaron Hicks to get to that ball and then make a strong throw. It was on a hop, which makes it a little bit tough for Dunsing, or excuse me, for Dozier to be able to pick this ball and turn around spin, but he kind of just backs off knowing that he dropped the ball right there. Otherwise he might have just been able to continue to go in front of the bag and maybe make that out.
One out double, now Bobby Wilson. That gets by Herman, and Franklin will advance to third. Probably be a passed ball, I guess. It's a wild pitch.
Yeah, it didn't hit the dirt, but looks almost like it crossed him up. He was sitting away and came back in and never really reacted to that ball very well.
Infield in now with the runner at third. Two and oh.
The wiggle out, important out right here. They just can't afford to give any more runs away. Archer seems to be dialed in.
3-0. Kiermaier on deck. In the middle of strike. Tim Stauffer is down on a rehab assignment. Casey Fiend a week or two behind Stauffer, but there'll be some bullpen moves here in the very likely before the end of the month. And now a pitch in the dirt, and it's a one-out walk, first and third, one down.
And Paul indicated that perhaps even on this next road trip somewhere there will be some transactions.
Tonkin and Presley called up in part because of the injury situation.
Brian Dunsing needs a ground ball right here. Chance for a double play. Infield's going to play halfway. You've got Plouffe in at third base.
Twins are still in this game 3-1, but they need to score the next couple of runs. Strike on the outside corner. Kiermaier today has a double a walk and a fly out against Gibson. One strike to Kiermaier. And that deflects off of Dozier's glove. A run will score, and Wilson will go to second. Another well hit ball. Another run for the Rays. 4-1. That'll bring up Forsythe.
Had Brian Dozier been playing back, maybe that would have been a double play, but those are the risks you take.
Another frustrating outing for Brian Dunsink. He faces 4 men and only retires 1. Walked the number 9 batter, Bobby Wilson. So Dunsink will leave in a mid-inning pitching change with the Rays now leading by 3. Today's DraftKings players to watch. Mark Burley, great mark against the Houston Astros, but can anybody slow the Astros down these days? Giancarlo Stanton not only hitting home runs but long ones. Miguel Cabrera hit his 400th yesterday. They play the Cardinals tonight. And Torrey Hunter hoping for a better success against Chris Archer, both for him and for his teammates. The lead is growing. Michael Tonkin trying to hold the Rays now at 4. Eighth appearance for Tonkin. Big outing the other day, coming out in relief of Aaron Thompson when things looked like they were going to spin out of control. And needs to do the same thing here. The Twins are in the game. They've given up just single runs in the 5th and 6th innings, but have scored 4 unanswered runs here in the series finale. There's a first pitch strike. 1 out in the inning, and if Tonkin can get a ground ball, maybe the Twins will get out of here with just the 1 run allowed. Inside hitting, and the bases now are loaded. Longoria. Tonkin in Detroit came in with the bases loaded and got a couple of big outs.
Rajay Davis going down. Ball back hit right back to Michael Tonkin. It works some magic here.
Big confidence booster for Tonkin. got to get Tampa Bay's best hitter with 1 out and the bases loaded. Pitch is very high. Ball 1. Lace to center field. Wilson will score. Kiermaier right behind him. Hicks' throw cut off by Mauer, and it's a 3-run inning. 3 runs charged to Brian Dunston.
Now that hit right there by Longoria maybe really blew this game wide open. Ball left out over the plate. Longoria, he's a professional hitter. He knows situations. Gets a very hittable pitch right there. Ball over the middle of the plate. Shoots it right back up the middle. Around the bases go. Tampa Bay Rays.
And now James Loney. The log complete on Dunsing in relief. 1/3 of an inning, 3 earned runs. Check swing, but a called strike. After today's game, the Twins will be done with the Rays until the end of August. Usually the Rays just come to Minnesota once these days, and Twins go to St. Petersburg once. And it's at the end of August. 1-1. I'm curious here. Twins go to the road, on the road, 2 in Pittsburgh, 3 in Chicago, and then they're Red Sox heavy for a week and a half, and then they'll be done with the Red Sox. They have 3 games here with Boston starting the next homestand a week from tomorrow. Then they go to Boston for 4, and then they'll be done with the Red Sox till the postseason.
2 teams that are very familiar with each other because of spring training. Both reside in Fort Myers, Florida for spring training. Seems like they play every other game against each other down there.
And the Twins familiar with the Rays too, since they are up in Port Charlotte, 45 minutes away. 1-2 to James Loney. And that's poked foul. Looking at the Twins schedule, and they entered the game today 14-5. They haven't lost back-to-back games at home this year. As awful as the home opener was against Kansas City, they won the next 2 games. And they lost 2 out of 3 here to the Tigers, but they were separated. The 2 losses were by a win. 1-2. On the ground under the glove of Dozier. Forsythe to third. They're going to wave him around. Rosario's throw toward third base, and now Forsythe scores, and that run charged to Tonkin, who hasn't retired a bat. Dozier's been flopping to his right and his left all afternoon long, and another one that just ducked under his glove.
Tonkin got the ground ball, but sometimes you need a little luck too. You have to get it to be hit right at one of your defenders.
Brandon Geyer 1 for 3. Drove in a run with a single his last time up. Twins have done this to so many teams this year, just stringing one good at bat after another. Geyer takes strike 1. Yeah, it's a lot more fun when you're doing that than when the other guys are doing that. 8th man to bat, still only 1 out. The first man to come to the plate was retired on the first pitch of the inning. Since then, the Rays have gone double, walk, single, hit batter, pair of singles.
You can almost sense a little changing in the weather. Got some rolling in.
On the outside corner. Tonkin shaves the corner to get a strikeout out number 2. Yeah, you never know it now. I mean, this is cumulus clouds, partly cloudy skies, temps in the 70s, but the hammer is supposed to be dropped here in a couple hours. We hope in a couple hours. Some areas of Twins territory I know have had some dangerous weather over the last 24 hours. The Twins have been incredibly lucky here, not just at home but on the road as well. Save for the 3-hour and 36-minute rain delay to start the 3rd game of the first Detroit series. Right. But once we got started, we were able to play uninterrupted. But generally the rotten weather here in the Twin Cities has been while the Twins have been gone. And hard into the corner, foul. 1-1. Ninth man to bat. DeJesus 1 for 3 against Kyle Gibson.
I think we had a wonderful start to the day's game. Mid-70s.
Yeah.
Gorgeous day for a baseball game. Hopefully this game won't be played too much longer, that the weather will affect it.
See if the Twins can do something about the scoreboard too. They've got 12 outs left. But a 4 spot here in the 6th that broken the game open a little bit. 2-1 to DeJesus. And that's past Plouffe. And the hits just keep on coming. Another run scores. Longoria in from third base. And it's a bat around inning for Tampa Bay here in the 6th. You know, there was a potential turning point in this game. And DeJesus' at bat in the 5th inning. Dozier made a nice play. And instead of a run scoring, the Twins challenged the call, got the out they needed. And it was still a 3-1 ball game. And you think, well, maybe the game will turn with a little good fortune. But the Rays, to their credit, have peppered the ball all over the ballpark here in the 6th.
Chris Archer battled through some of that adversity, was able to keep the Twins from capitalizing on their opportunities, and now he's sitting with a very comfortable lead.
Cabrera made it out on the first pitch of the inning. Hitting as a right-handed batter against Brian Dunsing. He hit a 2-hopper to Plouffe. And now 2 strikes. Ryan Presley warming up. I don't know, was it earlier this inning I announced Mike Redmond was fired, or was that last inning?
It was still in this inning, believe it or not.
Was it in this inning? 2 strikes to Cabrera. Jack swing. Marlins are still paying off Ozzie Guillen's contract. And now they'll pay off a 1.5 years of Mike Redmond's deal. What a mess down there.
It really is. And they signed Giancarlo Stanton to that huge contract, kind of giving him their word that they're going to put together a winning team. Doesn't start out that way, and the manager gets the boot.
Fouled away by Cabrera, still 1-2. The Brewers fired Ron Renicky a couple weeks ago. They haven't really turned things around. So many times a manager gets fired. The problem is an organizational one, not the managerial desk. That ends an awful inning for the Twins. Good one for the Rays. They score 5 times and now lead 8-1. a big help in getting the Twins headed back in the right direction. He's our T-Mobile game changer. Last 8 games, Dozier's done awfully well at the plate. In addition to those numbers, the walks, seeing Gold Glove caliber defense. Committed the 1 error here, the only error of the season. And he will lead off the 6th inning. See if the Twins can peck away at this margin against one of the best pitchers in the American League.
Coach got it started in the 1st inning. Leadoff walk. They came around and scored.
Ball 1.
Uphill battle.
At Mauer.
It'll be an uphill battle for the Twins right now. Archer's got a very comfortable lead.
I think I know the answer to this, but you know, these days there's an emphasis placed on conservation of innings. Now, when you had a team give you a big lead, I don't even know why I'm asking this, because I do know the answer to this. How did you approach it at, you know, out there on the mound? How did Sparky handle it? How did your managers handle trying to conserve every inning in your arm when the lead kind of got a little out of hand?
For me, I think the biggest thing, the biggest difference was I do not want to walk anybody. I'm going to come at you. I've got runs to work with. I'm going to challenge you. You're going to have to beat me with your bats. And sometimes it didn't work out all that well because they kind of knew that and were sitting on pitches. They gave up a few home runs, solo home runs that way. But I figured, you know what? My guy's got me plenty of runs to work with. I'm not going to have him standing around the outfield.
2-2 to Dozier starting the Twins' 6th inning. And a bouncer foul. Twins have an off day tomorrow. They'll play 2 games in Pittsburgh. Then there's another off day on Thursday. And I suspect the Chicago White Sox will be waiting for them next weekend. There's a ball hit to right center field. And running in, making a nice catch, Brandon Guyer, 1 away. Twins embarrassed the White Sox in 4 games here, and since then, the White Sox have won every series. They beat Oakland again last night. The Oakland A's, who were also victimized here in a 4-game series. The Twins won 3 of 4. The Oakland A's have the worst record in the major leagues.
You're not used to that. Oakland has always been that team that doesn't seem to have the big names. They don't go out and spend any money on free agents. They, like Tampa, kind of turn over their roster year in, year out, but they're always there because of pitching, and this year, not the case. Maybe Billy Beane has finally had his style of baseball catch up with him.
A's coming into play today find themselves 11.5 games out of first. And the only consolation is the team in first place is a team that no one thought would be there for any length of time this year. Hunter's gone on 3 pitches, 2 down. So you can say, well, yeah, we're 11.5 games behind Houston, but we're only 7 games behind the Angels.
Okay.
Somehow that sounds a little bit better, you know? Hunter strikes out. He's 0 for 3 against Archer, and now Mauer. The Twins had a 1-0 lead after 1 inning. Mauer singled to center, scoring Dozier. Kansas City leading the Yankees 6-0 in the 6th inning.
Twins were really kind of climbing the ladder, only 2 games out of first place. Tigers and KC were tied today, both with identical records of 23 wins and 14 losses.
However you slice up this first month and a half of the season, though, Jack, other than that first week, it's kind of hard not to be encouraged. You know, it wasn't a great road trip, but the Twins were 3-3, Cleveland and Detroit. Not a time in the last 4 years the Twins wouldn't have taken a road trip like that. Mauer taps out. It's a 1-2-3-6.
Brian Dozier leadoff walk. He scores on Joe Mauer's base hit up the middle back in the bottom half of the first inning. But the Tampa Bay Rays just have their hitting shoes on today. We're going to just call them by names. James Loney there. Joe Mauer throwing the ball that a little bit slow getting to the ball. Neither one covered. Another run scores. Kyle Gibson just elevated too many pitches in this one, I think. And then the floodgates really opened up after Kyle Gibson left the ball game. Brian Dunsing has a tough time giving up 3 runs, and the same with Michael Tonkin. A couple runs given up by Tonkin.
Rays came into this series with a record a little bit better than the Twins. The Twins had winning the first 2 games. In danger of losing the 3rd. Nick Franklin will lead things off in the 7th against Ryan Presley. And outside, ball 1. Talking about it the other day. Look at the American League East. The Rays started the day 2 games back of the Yankees, having beaten the Yankees 3 of 4 in St. Petersburg. You look at the division and pick a team that you think is the favorite, but I think the way things have gone, you better not be shocked if that team finishes last. To me, it's the most balanced division so far this year of any we've seen in a lot of years.
I agree with you. It's tough to figure out who might be on top and who might be on bottom by the end of the season. There's the standings in the American League East. Boston's certainly a better team than their record is, and you just hope that the Twins don't run into them when they start heating up.
They've got such thin starting pitching. Not so sure it won't be a good idea by season's end to get the Red Sox off your schedule before the All-Star break,
right?
Because clearly they need to bolster their starting rotation. 2-2 to Franklin. On the ground to Dozier, and he can make a play on this one. 1 down. We'll bring up Bobby Wilson. In the West, you've got the Astros, and you've got to tip your cap and say, hey, that's wonderful. Great for baseball. Great for the fans of Houston who suffered through so much. But do you think that the Angels aren't going to take a long and hard run at them before the season's out? Is Seattle going to get its act together?
I love Tom Kelly in some of the ways he approached some of these things. You know, he said on paper we don't have a chance, so let's go ahead and play the game and see what happens.
Right.
And you know, in that case, sir, it is a feel-good story to see Houston playing so well. They've had the top draft choices for it seems like a decade, and so they should have a solid farm system and a lot of good, talented players about ready to mature at the big league level.
In the awful 6th inning, when the Rays scored 5 times, maybe the biggest plate appearance was Bobby Wilson's walk. Franklin had doubled with 1 out. Dunsing ended up walking the number 9 hitter Wilson. And then the hits, other unpleasantries followed. Wilson strikes out here, out number 2. Back to our trivia question. Let's see if we got this one right, too. We're on a pretty good run here.
You had Gardy, right?
I think it's got to be Ron Gardenhire. Bill Rigney.
I knew the truck had.
Yeah.
There was something there.
Bill Rigney replaced Billy Martin and had the distinction of being Bert Blyleven's first major league manager. Up and away, ball 1. We were talking about the 65 reunion the Twins are going to have. And it was sad to find out today that Sam Mealy, the manager of that team, won't be in attendance. And he's one of the few guys that associated with that team that's still around who won't be coming. Jimmy Hall, another one who won't be here. What do you remember about the 65 World Series?
I remember that our 3rd grade teacher brought in a television to allow us to watch part of the game, and that was pretty cool. I think those were the things that made all of us want to play professional baseball when we were kids.
I I had a one-room schoolhouse in western Minnesota. We didn't have that luxury. We were not allowed to watch the World Series. They were all day games back then, swing and a miss. And so I would have to run from school all the way across town to find out how the game turned out. It was all at 3 blocks.
You didn't have your 250 Suzuki yet, apparently.
3-2 to Kiermaier. Presley trying to restore a little order to this game. Breaking ball got him. Good inning for Presley as he has a 1-2-3 inning. And the Twins will try to get something done in the bottom of the 7th, but in between we'll be very happy to treat you with a Sunday afternoon rendition of God Bless America. The Northfield High School Choir. The Toyota Time Sales Event ends June 1st. Hurry in today. Toyota, let's go places. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for the everyday competitor in all of us.
Bottom half, home half of the 7th inning. Twins trailing 8-1. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins LLC.
Bottom of the 7th, Trevor Plouffe will lead things off. Jake McGee just off the disabled list and getting a chance to pitch to the Twins here in the 7th. Strike on the outside corner.
Pretty easy day for Chris Archer. He pitched very well, 4 strikeouts, keeping that record of his intact, allowing just 1 earned run. 16 now consecutive road games.
1-1. bounced into a double play in the first, singled in the fourth. And foul back. 1-2. Tim Beckham is in at shortstop for Cabrera. Rays out hitting the Twins 13-4. Up and away, 2-2. Batter of the game for the Twins. Brian Dozier walked and scored. Since then, it's been a struggle.
Jake McGee been pretty much a pillar out in that bullpen for the Tampa Bay Rays in recent years. Big old farm kid looking guy. Strong, rears back, throws the ball hard. Big barrel chested guy. Done a very, very good job over the years for the Rays in the bullpen. And
Plenty of fastball.
Yeah, he can run it up there, closing in on 100 miles an hour at times. You got to be ready.
Three and two. Foul tip. And Wilson hangs on, 1 away. Bring up Escobar. This is your last chance to become a weekend warrior for the 2015 season. You can get all Friday, all Saturday, or all Sunday home games. You can become a weekend warrior and Twins season ticket holder today and get your ticket to summer. The last day to purchase is May 27th. Call 833-TWINS or visit twinsbaseball.com/weekend-warrior. One strike to Escobar, 0 for 2. Inside. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Even without McGee, the Rays have had a good bullpen. Rares back and blows it by you. 2 down. That'll bring up Chris Herman.
Let's look at Chris Archer in his day. Another fine outing for this good right-handed pitcher. 6 strong innings, only allowing 4 hits to 1 run. This is the leadoff man, Brian Dozier, mixing up his pitches. He has a lot of pride out there, and that's why the Tampa Bay Rays think so much of him.
Chris Herman, half swing, strike 1. Herman 0 for 2. He struck out in the second, hit a fly ball to left in the 5th. One and 1. If the Rays go on and win, improve to 21 and 18. They'll still be a half game behind the Twins in the league standing. This one popped up down the left field line. Jesus running after it and in foul ground. It's a catch to end the inning. McGee has a 1-2-3-7.
just the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, strategy isn't as big important to me as seeing the best hitter in the lineup versus a terrible hitting pitcher.
Doug Bernier at third.
I just think it's just a more complete game, and I understand people that enjoy it. Personally, I think that baseball should keep it the way it is. They have forever and ever, and that's the only thing that distinguishes the two leagues. So yeah. I don't mind that.
Rain has started to fall here at Target Field, with Brian Presley hoping for a nice orderly 8th inning. He had such an inning in the 7th. Bounce to third. Bernier gets tested right away. Got one of the best arms in the organization. 1 down. Now, you had some great DHs in your time in the American League. Chili Davis here. Not sure who would have been the DHs all those years in Detroit. Darrell Evans, I suppose, did some of that. But how would you have fared as a hitter? Did you ever come to the plate in the big leagues?
I did. I had one at bat in a regular season game. Of course, the World Series. We don't really even have to talk about that. But Sparky had used everybody up, our position players, our extra men, in a game that was getting late, 8th to 9th inning, and I had a hit for myself out in Anaheim one time.
And how'd you do?
Well, I flew out to the right field foul.
Contact, attaboy. Liner to left, 2 down. We'll bring up Loney.
You know what's funny, Dick, is that when you're a young player, you're not too far removed from either college or high school. A lot of pitchers from my generation still hit in high school, obviously. And we always thought that, you know, we were all going to be hitters. And I was actually disappointed that I didn't go to the National League out of when I signed my pro contract. But it didn't take very long before I realized that I didn't want to go to the hit.
Well, the pitchers held hitting practice here. And I use that term loosely. Mike Pelfrey and Ricky Nolasco will be the starters for the Twins in Pittsburgh. Nolasco has a big league home run, and Pelfrey regularly was dropping him into the seats in left field.
Well, let's just hope they get an at-bat or 2.
Fox Tracks presented by Carrier. Yeah, that's the thing. You want to make sure that your starting pitcher has 3 plate appearances, right? Because that means he's pitched into the ball game.
Yep.
Cisco Lariano, or a good friend who will oppose Nolasco.
2 number 47s.
Brought to you by CenturyLink. That's got to drive you nuts. Nolasco's got an ERA of 6.38, and he's 3-1. Lariano's ERA half of that, and he's 1-3.
You just hope that when the season's all over and the clouds settles, that it all makes sense.
1-2 to Loney with 2 gone here in the 8th inning. That's to left center field, and it'll drop for a hit. And a base hit for Loney with 2 down. That'll bring up Geyer. A light shower following here, at least, or falling here. That's how I would describe it, but I've got a roof over my head. And heavy stuff expected later on today.
14th hit for the Tampa Bay Rays. They've come here with a little revenge on their mind, trying to salvage the 1 game here. The Twins had an opportunity to sweep this series, but looks like Tampa's got control of this game.
On the ground, nice pickup, Santana, and he drops it. Safe at second. It'll be an error charge to Santana, prolonging the inning here in the 8th. Be the 10th error charge to Danny Santana. And Paul Molitor looking over his right shoulder, see whether the Twins should appeal this. As it is, Santana charged with an error, his 10th.
Takes his eye off his hand, his fielding hand, just momentarily, enough to bobble that ball.
Herman to the mound, talked to Presley, and now DeJesus will bat. De Jesus with a couple of hits, nearly had a third hit, but the Twins challenged a call at first base and got it turned into the third out of the 5th inning. Over for strike one. And now Herman's going to run to the mound and talk to Presley again. I mentioned that the Twins are going to be making some decisions. Paul Molitor suggested on his radio show this morning that maybe before the road trip is out, some determination is going to be made on the likes of Tim Stauffer. Stauffer was supposed to go 3 innings today, but he wasn't effective and didn't pitch nearly that long in Rochester. Well, the left field, Escobar running back on the track ends the inning. A single, an error, 2 men left aboard, and we head to the bottom of the 8th.
Midway through the contest, we'll also take a look at Chris Archer. What a good pitcher this guy is. He's been stymieing the Twins early in the game, and now the bullpen has also kept the Twins in check. We'll put you inside the Twins clubhouse, hear from the manager, Paul Molitor, and we'll also set up the road trip that lies ahead as the Twins get ready for some interleague baseball, guys, in Pittsburgh.
All right, thank you, Kevin. Paul Molitor hoping that his team can back and get into this game. It'll be Rosario, Hicks, and Santana set to face the other left-handed reliever, Xavier Cedeno.
Well, these are not at bats that Twins want or need to be wasted. I mean, these guys are really still auditioning. Rosario and Hicks both to prove that they belong here.
Swing and a miss.
We mentioned yesterday that Terry Ryan would like to see Eddie Rosario just make better contact and swing at more strikes. That first pitch, a good sweeping breaking ball. It doesn't really have much of a chance on either one of those.
Well, Paul had an interesting observation regarding Rosario, and understanding that Paul saw a lot of Rosario in the minor leagues and described him as a good bad ball hitter, but making the distinction between a bad ball in the minor leagues and a bad ball up in the big leagues. It's something you might be able to catch up and react to in the minor leagues, but even the bad pitches up here are a little bit different animal.
Yeah, most bad pitches at the big league level are on intention. They're throwing them there to see if you'll chase. where most bad pitches in the minor leagues are because guys just can't command their pitches.
1-2 to Rosario. And fouled away. Swing, it's strike 3. And Rosario's gone, 1 away. That'll bring up Aaron Hicks. Hicks 0 for 2. He struck out twice as a left-handed batter. Now he'll swing from the other side. Join us May 30th on a DQ sensational Saturday as the Twins take on the Blue Jays. All fans will get a Twins travel pillow courtesy of My Pillow. Go to twinsbaseball.com/tickets. Get your tickets today. Strike 1. Hicks hitless yesterday, 0 for 2 today, and the average down to 250. One and one. Hicks quieter as a batter in the box from the right side of the plate than the left. Bouncer to third, scooped up. 2 down. On the other side of the plate, we see the big flex of the arms with the bat right as the pitcher's winding up, and then the leg kick. But he's much quieter from his preferred side. 2 down. And now Danny Santana is a right-handed batter. Kansas City now leading the Yankees 6-0. Co-leaders in the division, Detroit in St. Louis, trying to sweep the Cardinals. Santana with a bunt single in the third. He bounced out to second in the fifth. 1-1.
Very quiet crowd. The rain kind of sent a lot of them home early.
Thompson warming up. So he'll get the 9th inning. Strike 2, 1-2.
Twins just really haven't generated any kind of offense today. Dozier scored leadoff man with a walk single by Joe Mauer way back in the bottom half of the first, and that's been it for the Twins.
And I think that's a difference too, even in defeat. Look at the pitchers who are beating the Twins. Chris Archer, he's the best that Tampa Bay's got. Anibal Sanchez of Detroit's handled the Twins pretty well. Danny Salazar of the Indians stumped it to not only the Twins, but in his next game too, he pitched awfully well.
Well, you have to prey on the weak. I mean, you really do. You have to beat up on the guys you know you should beat, and hope that you can maybe break even with those great pitchers, because pitching has always dominated this game, probably always will.
Full count to Santana with 2 gone, and the rain coming down a little bit harder now. As soon as I said that, it's lightening up again. Bouncer to second. And a 1-2-3 8th inning for Cedeno. down here at Target Field. The Rays with an 8-1 lead. We're about to start the 9th inning. And Aaron Thompson out there on the mound. He'll pitch to the bottom third of the Tampa Bay lineup. I'm not sure what the delay is now. We're ready to go. Thompson's numbers on the year very good. He'll try to make quick work of the Rays here in the ninth. Beckham came in for Cabrera a couple innings ago. This is his first plate appearance. 1 strike. Kenny Vargas in at first base. Be able to get a 9th inning at bat in here with Lauer out of the game. Vargas would hit third. Inside a ball, 1-1. With what looks to be a loss here this afternoon, Twins will have started their home schedule 2-1 with homestand records of 4-2, 8-3, and 2-1. And the next homestand will be in about a week. 3 with Boston, 3 with Toronto. Half swing, 3-1.
Little string of home games against the American League East, starting right here with the Rays.
Twins very heavy with American League Central teams through the first 5 weeks of the season. Liner to center and a base hit for Beckham. And that'll bring up Franklin. White Sox have a 1-0 lead on Oakland. They're trying to sweep the A's out on the West Coast. The 4-game sweep that the Twins handed the White Sox here in the last homestand sure looks like it's served as a wake-up call to the White Sox. So they'll be waiting for the Twins on this road trip, I'm sure. 1 strike to Franklin.
Twins have yet to play an interleague game, so the 2 games in Pittsburgh will get that particular part of the season started.
1-1. First weekend in June, the Brewers will be here, so we'll be playing by American League rules. Twins have interleague series at St. Louis. This is after Pittsburgh. That's a fair ball off the glove of Bernier. Beckham will run for third. And he's safe at third. Thompson covering the bag. Beckham advancing. And the 9th inning starts with a pair of hits.
#16th hit for the Tampa Bay Rays. Got their hitting shoes on today. Find a lot of holes too. That ball right down the line. Not a lot Doug Bernier could do. Saw a couple of those hits with Trevor Plouffe at third base.
Bobby Wilson, the catcher. Swing and a miss. The Twins will be playing by National League rules in Pittsburgh Tuesday and Wednesday night. Then there's a 2-game series in St. Louis in the middle of June. And then a road trip that consists of 3 in Milwaukee, 3 in Cincinnati, and then 4 in Kansas City. 0-2. And again this year, the Twins will be done with National League style of play before the All-Star break. Blocked by Herman. 1-2. Foul back. First 2 games of this series, Rene Rivera did the catching for the Rays. Wilson had a good day at the plate. Single and a walk and 2 runs scored. Hook foul. Eventually, he ended up with the baseball. One and 2 to Bobby Wilson. And that's poked to left. It'll be a base hit. One of those days.
It certainly has been.
And anytime Aaron Thompson gives up 3 straight hits, you know it's not been a good day for the Twins. He's been very stingy in that department. But 3 singles, another run that the Rays probably won't need. Thompson came into the game 21 in the 3rd innings and only 13 hits allowed, so he enters this game and gives up 3 knocks right away. Joey Butler hitting in Kiermaier's spot.
It's been so long ago that I ever did any work out of the bullpen as a reliever, but I just have to imagine that coming into these kind of games out of the pen, here it is late in the game, they're down by a whole bunch of runs, and the rain has settled in a little bit, making the mound a little tacky. It's got to be hard to mentally get prepared and go out there. You've got to do it. It's part of your job.
Here's another one. 4 straight hits. And another run for the Rays.
Aaron Thompson's been brought into most games this year by Paul Molitor and Neil Allen. That really mattered, and he's done a great job in responding to that. And that adrenaline and heartbeat are up. But today, 4 straight hits.
Four singles to start the night. First and third, nobody out. Forsythe, the batter, he's already got a couple hits, was hit by a pitch. Strike one. J.R. Graham warming up. Ernesto Frieri warming up. That one twists foul. It appears that the Twins will play the Rays 3 times here without seeing Brad Boxberger, their closer, who's been perfect, 10 for 10. And now McGee's back in the mix, so we don't know how Kevin Cash is going to work those 2 together. Inside, 1 and 2.
Let's put it this way: if it gets to a safe situation, we're going to be here a while.
Like Tuesday.
About the time the plane leaves tomorrow to go to Pittsburgh.
One and 2. Thompson is looking to get an out here. Fouled back. And what looks to be a lopsided result here. Of course, now you get to the point where you are a little concerned about the field conditions. Fawcett's either been on high or a slow drip for quite a while now. Swing and a miss. There's an out. 1 down, and now Longoria. Paul Molitor to the mound, and he might make a pitching change here. Thompson has a rough outing in a game and an outing for him that shouldn't matter much. Graham will relieve him when we come back. family to the ballpark this summer in the Minnesota Twins, our family section. Presented by Fox Sports North. Tickets in the alcohol-free section start at just $10. Include a free Schweigert hot dog and Pepsi. For ticket information, visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on upcoming events on the Hot Topics bar. J.R. Graham will try to finish off the Rays here in the top of the ninth. And Evan Longoria will be the batter.
Longoria's had a pretty good day at the plate. A couple of hits, 3 RBIs, runs scored.
And Longoria on a half swing, strike one. First and third, one down. One and one. Graham, in his most recent outing in Detroit, had one kind of like Dunsing or Thompson had. A couple innings, 5 earned runs, a couple of home runs. And I'm sure he's been itching to get out back on the mound. Try to forget about that.
Yeah, everything was hit hard too. Those were fastballs that were left out over the plate. Just had a tough time getting anybody out.
3-1. Talk about the bullpen changes that will be coming with perhaps Stauffer and Fiend rejoining the major league club before the end of the month. There are some guys out in the bullpen that might be vulnerable to being demoted, but Graham not one of them, because he's a Rule 5 guy, and the Twins are absolutely committed to him being up at the big league level all season long to protect him and keep him in the organization. 3-2 to Longoria. Fouled away. Now every once in a while the drafting team will work out an arrangement with the team the player was drafted from, essentially a trade, but the Twins don't seem to want to go there. They've always said publicly, at least, that he's going to be here all year long.
Well, they like his arm. I mean, he throws the mid to high 90s. You know, he's still learning some of the other aspects of the game, but he's young, he's strong. He could learn a off-speed pitch to go with that very good fastball of his. And we have a lot of hope for J.R. Graham.
Another 3-2 to Longoria. Struck him out. 96-mile-per-hour fastball. And Graham strikes out Longoria, out number 2. Again, the Twins will keep Graham in the bullpen. James Loney, the batter here, first and third, now 2 down, back-to-back strikeouts. Strike of the knees at 98 miles per hour. My goodness.
Twins haven't had arms like that in the pen for quite some time. And Perkins maybe can touch that once in a while.
Fouled back.
It's just Boyer and Perkins, the only 2 relievers that are active right now that haven't been in the game for the Twins. They have been instrumental in winning the first 2 games against Tampa. There they are. The life of the bullpen boys. Let's just grab some seeds here.
Off day tomorrow. Team will fly to Pittsburgh tomorrow night. A Tapper foul. Then another off day Thursday in Chicago. The Twins play a couple of weeks before another off day. Excuse me, they have a Off day on the 28th. Two strikes to Loney. Fastball sails outside. Geyer on deck. Graham trying to make sure he gets the Twins out of the rain and off the field here in this at bat. That's past Vargas, and it'll go to the corner. And 1 run will score. Now 3 runs charged to Aaron Thompson in a third of an inning. Second and third with 2 down. That will bring up Geyer. Texas has opened up a 4-1 lead over the last place Cleveland Indians. And Chicago has a 1-0 lead over Oakland in the 4th in the Bay Area. And Detroit playing St. Louis tonight. Royals appear to be on their way to a win over the Yankees, leading 6-0 in the 9th inning. Swing and a miss by Geyer.
We were talking about this division and the improvement that the Twins have made. Only 2 games out going into today's game. And looks like they might slip back another game with Kansas City winning. But I think they played well against Kansas City. It's just there's a little something there with Detroit so far this year that the Twins haven't been able to get through.
Which is odd because they won the season series with the Tigers last year.
Yeah.
But Detroit looks really, really good to me. You get a chance to do some of their games for their network as well. But they got some components they haven't had for a while. Haven't gotten 1 inning pitch from Justin Verlander yet, but their shortstop is giving them the best shortstop play they've had in a long, long time.
Yeah, and they've got some pretty good defenders in the outfield now too. And you know, their big question mark is, will the young Shane Green hold up and be a winning pitcher or a 500 pitcher or somewhere below that? Alfredo Simon.
Back to Graham. And that'll take care of the 9th inning. 3 more runs for the Rays. The Twins are down by 10. Well, the Twins won the first 2 games of this series, and it sure looks like this one's going to go to the Rays. Ernesto Frieri will pitch to the Twins in the bottom of the 9th. Brian Dozier Shane Robinson's going to hit in the DH spot for Torrey Hunter. And Frieri coming in, trying to make quick work of the Twins. We have apparently gotten this game in when that was in doubt pretty much all weekend long, given the forecast. So in theory, the Rays will get to Atlanta tonight. The Twins will fly to Pittsburgh tomorrow. Inside, ball one. Kansas City did finish off the Yankees 6-0. So the Twins 3 outs from now, barring a miraculous comeback, will be 3 games out of first place. Popped up, backing out of play. It would be nice if the Twins can stay in contention. They have, for an underdog, a sleeper pick, whatever, they've got a favorable schedule at the end of the year because they play their last 2 weeks against teams in the American League Central. They have 7 games with Cleveland, 3 with Detroit, 3 with Kansas City here to end the year. And wouldn't it be something if all those games at the end of September were important games, games with meaning? One and 2 to Dozier. Liner to center. And Dozier has a base hit. Twins haven't had a hit since Rosario's single in the 5th inning. Now Shane Robinson came back to the team yesterday. Family emergency that required his attention. And he's back with the club.
Well, as ugly as this game has been for the Twins, it gives Paul Mahler an opportunity to get him an at-bat. Same with Kenny Vargas. He's going to get an at-bat for Joe Mauer here.
Twins showing, I think, great care and benevolence. Robinson with an anticipated departure from the team, and through the road trip, Twins tried not to use him, knowing that given things that have been going on health-wise within his family, that his mind might not be on baseball, and now a chance to ease him back in. And by Tuesday, he'll be fully able to go, without getting into details that we would prefer not to, and I think Shane would prefer not to. He just had a childhood health situation, and everything has gone as well as can be hoped. Inside. 2-1.
Yeah, you realize, and that's why, and thank God for baseball, to have this ability to put him on that list.
Yes.
Because you realize that certain things are more important, and you certainly had to attend to that.
3-1 now with Vargas on deck. Takes a walk. Frieri not earning much praise from the Rays dugout, I'm sure. Leadoff base hit. Now he walks Robinson. Here comes Vargas. Bauer gone 1 for 3 with an RBI. Going to be a very long run for DeJesus. Almost overran it. Looked like he was ready to do a cartwheel after the catch, but he got there one away.
Let's take a look here, David DeJesus. I think he did overrun the ball and throws his hands up there, trying to see how close he is to that wall. Get a little chuckle out of it.
One down, and now Trevor Plouffe. Strike one. I'm sorry, Doug Bernier is the batter. Came in for Plouffe a couple innings ago. It's hit to right center field. Bernier has his first hit. It's going to run to the gap. It's going to score two. Doug Bernier with a double. And the Twins now trail 11-3.
Oh, good for Doug Bernier. You know, he got a ball that he could handle there, shoots it out to right center field. Gets to take another peek at it. But these are important at bats for the guys that are kind of the fringe players that Doug Bernier's been around for a while, but gets a pitch that he can handle right there. And picks up 2 RBIs.
Now Escobar 0 for 3. Strike call. Escobar with a comebacker to the mound. Archer made the play. Bounced into a double play in the 4th and then struck out in the 7th. Foul, 2 strikes. And a foul over the Rays dugout. This is the 20th home game of the year for the Twins. They played 18 on the road. Last homestand was one of those marathon ones, 11 games, and the Twins obviously played well. And for every one of those, you have to have a very short one, and that's what the Twins have here, just 3 games. Escobar strikes out, 2 away.
2 very well played games by the Twins, and 2 crisply played games, and then today kind of a clunker for the Minnesota Twins.
Here's Chris Herman. He caught the clunker. 0 for 3. Struck out in the 2nd. A fly ball to left and a foul fly to left. Outside, ball 1. Swing and a foul. 1-1. Twins don't have any more of these short homestands until the very end of the season. They have a 3-gamer with Kansas City. 1-1. And now 1-2.
Like you talked about earlier, wouldn't that be wonderful if there were meaningful games?
And you have to remember that there are 2 wild cards now, and that's a change from the last time the Twins were in postseason play. And both wild cards have come out of the same division, so it's not just the division lead; it's the next 2 spots with the best record in the league. 2-2. Have seen enough of the other guys clinching. A couple of years ago, they saw Detroit clinch a division championship and the Indians clinch a wild card in the same homestand. Herman strikes out, and that takes care of it. The series is over, and it's another winning homestand for the Twins. They won the first 2, lost the finale. And we got the game in. Twins have an off day, and will play by National League rules starting Tuesday night in Pittsburgh. Tom Hanneman.
Dick, Tampa Bay rains on the Twins parade today, showering them with 19 hits and 11 runs as salvage.